a target group to make them look bad. Even the Arabs at this point, because they wanted the war in the Middle East. But all the terrorism is instigated, and Roosevelt said it good many years ago when Roosevelt quoted that if something happens in the government, you can bet it was planned. Nothing just happens. Everything's planned meticulously, and we saw how quick the World Trade Center towers, the debris was carted away, was hauled away, so it couldn't be investigated. So their own explosive devices couldn't be found. We know those planes didn't take it down, and that's a joke. And so all of it works together, folks. And for what? For what? What is the New World Order? It's about aliens. It's about aliens. The Antichrist of the last days is an Anik. He's an alien. The false prophet is an Anik. That's an alien. I mean, an alien is just another word for fallen angels. I mean, that's all aliens are. They're fallen angels. And if there was, some people want to say, well, there's good aliens and there's bad aliens. Well, folks, if they were good aliens, they would be standing. They wouldn't be fallen. They would be standing angels in heaven with the Most High. They would be forced to live subterranean or in the first and second heavens. And they wouldn't have fallen angel status. And yeah, some races are a lot more wicked than others. But that doesn't mean we should be mingling with any type of alien. Every time I've asked the Lord about talking to aliens, or he just doesn't say a word about it. He won't. He's never given me the go-ahead to speak to any alien. I can remember the Nordics years ago. Wanted me to help them, work with them to bring down the New World Order. And it's I told them years ago. I'm doing. I work for the Most High. I'll go after them myself. I don't need to align with any alien race, any fallen race, as far as I'm concerned, to bring down the New World Order. And they all lie. How do you know which one's telling you the truth when they all lie? They all lie. It's in their nature to lie. And so, a lot of people putting their trust it's bringing the aliens in, and they start these groups up and these petitions, and it's ridiculous. I think I lasted on that one group about bringing aliens, inviting aliens to Earth. I lasted 3 days before they kicked me off that list. And that's what the New World Order is about. Uprooting everything we have here as a nation, our Constitution, our sovereignty as a nation, every nation around the world, their sovereignty, their own governments, their own countries, and letting these aliens come in and take over the world, control it. And whether we want them to or not, they're going to, because it's prophesied that in the last days, if you look at Daniel's vision of the last world ruling empire, signified with the vision of the toes, that iron mixed with clay, it would be an alien nation. We're looking at an alien empire, hybrids, and we've got all this already in America today. America has become the base of operations for Lucifer and his forces. They've got underground bases almost underneath every city that we have. We have over 119 underground bases, just military. And then we have the joint alien bases that are huge. The Dulce base in New Mexico is the size of Manhattan. Then you have the main one in Taos, New Mexico. Almost the entire state of New Mexico, Nevada, and Utah is underground alien bases. And then, of course, we have them in Texas. We have them in California. We have them in mountain ranges, Northern California, Mount Shasta. The Telosians are in Mount Shasta. The Greys are in New Mexico. We've got white draconians in the Libyan desert. And they're all over the world, folks. They're just not focused here in America. But this will be the main base of operations, is America. And the Lord has told me that, our government that started making treaties with these aliens back in 1933, once you become involved with aliens and once you start mingling with them, they will control and possess you. And that's what's happened. And our shadow government, folks, is exactly this. It's a hybrid mess of humans being controlled by aliens. And there's not so much of a difference anymore between shadow government and our normal government, because there's been a coup over the last 12 years of our government. The last 3 presidents we've had have all been controlled by these aliens. And so that, they're here, There's really no such thing as a shadow government. It's our government per se, as it is right now today. You know, I know a lot of people think, well, FEMA is the shadow government. Well, FEMA is now under the directive and control of the Homeland Security, and they answer to nobody but the president. And so it's all in place, folks. Everything is in place for the Antichrist to come and take over. You know, and we don't have a lot of time, folks. 877-624-4331. Give me a call. Somebody was sending me an email earlier today, and they stated that, you know, I'm making too much noise. I'm making too much of a ruckus, and because of the things that I'm doing and putting out, it's causing them to speed up their own plans and bring things earlier than what they planned on doing. And I don't know how much merit is in that. I mean, I'm just a messenger, a big mouth. But you know what, folks? Bring it on. Bring it on. As Bush says, bring it on. You know, how much more can we deal with? Disclosure is right around the corner. You know, and I don't know any Christian that just isn't, you know, getting tired of getting beat up the way things are. And it's going to get worse. Christians are going to undergo persecution. There's going to be martial law in this country. We can go this year. We can go next year, 20 years. I don't know about you, but I don't even know how much longer I can just sit here and pound the horns day in and day out. I'm tired. I'm tired, you know. Other people need to start picking up the horns and start yelling, you know. So that's what I wrote about. So it's writing about the New World Order this week. You know, the Bible's far ahead of any political and economic analyst out there. You can look at all, you know, get stuck in tunnel vision and look at all little pieces of the puzzle and how this is all coming together. Or you can just look at the entire picture and put the whole picture together. And it seems like nobody wants anybody looking at anything specifically. They'd rather just keep, you know, the Christian community in arguments and fights, and the Patriots community in arguments and fights, and everybody calling everybody else and being more focused on who's an agent and who's an infiltrator and whatever. You know, you know, the internet is one big infiltration feast of government agents. I mean, if one agency doesn't get you, another one will. You can't even go on a Yahoo list today and not have at least 17 different agencies have agents in there. To what? Discredit info, discredit people. And the key word today is science. Demand proof. Demand proof. Well, you know what? I can't put a UFO in your lap. I'm not even going to bother with these kinds of people. They're just a waste of time. And if you want to cite source, you know, read sources. You know, I everything I write, I've got sources in my articles. And so if you can't read it, then don't sit and ask me. You know, it's like a kid. It's like watching TV with a 7-year-old where they're asking you a question every 5 minutes because they can't understand what they're saying. If they can't understand what they're reading, don't read it. You know, and nobody's as bad. Half as bad as just these instigators to discredit people. And they come after the Patriots the same way. They do the Christians the same way. They just want to keep everybody at each other's throats, everybody wasting time on things they don't need to be wasting their time on. And I got a question through the NIA Instant Messenger, and like I said, you can send in questions through Sherry Talk Radio at Yahoo Instant Messenger. It sounds like things are ramping up. Is this normal every spring and summer? Well, folks, this is a dominant window of opportunity time, and I've stated it over and over and again in both of these shows. My show on Saturday nights, I spend a lot of time in this kind of stuff, and that May, June, and July are the dominant months for an alien invasion here in America. May, June, and July, these are the dominant months. And this is their window of opportunity. If they're going to start pulling their cards and playing them, it's going to be now. You know, it's going to be now. May, June, and July. So if they're going to pull this UFO down in Las Vegas and hover it, I mean, this is all